Hello everyone, welcome once again to another Power BI related tutorial by Slide School. In this part, you are learning financial expenses analysis and we are trying to create a dashboard in Power BI where you have interactive filters like quarter, company name, category type, category and subcategory. Let's say you want to see income versus expenses in quarter 1. So you can select it. These are all interactive filters. You want it to see for only one company, for category as income, for for subcategory as salary. So whatever you want to select, you can select them here. So and you can clear these filters and go back to default view. So all how to prepare a report like this, how to create this type of charts, how to see the values as both negative and positive in a cluster bar. This is something that you are going to learn here, and how to create these KPIs by applying simple filters on these charts, how to create a very simple DAX you know measure here, we'll learn. So let's get started with it. So the data set that we are going to use in this project for creating this type of dashboard is finance expense data set, where you can see we have in column A we have account, what type of account was used for that transaction, date, then company involved in that particular transaction, then we have information whether it was a debit or credit, and what was the total amount, subcategory, or and the main category, and we have category type. So main category of expenses is bills, dining out, entertainment, food, income, living expenses or travel. And in subcategory we have information like coffee, entertainment, grocery, rent, salary, transport, utilities. So all these things are given, and finally whether the category type is expense or income. All this information and column wise breakdown and their details are given here as well. So it is subcategory is a more detailed classification of the transaction, and now we are simply going to use this particular use this particular data set for building our dashboards and reports. Now to create the dashboard, we will simply open Power BI. We'll open Power BI desktop, and I'm using Power BI desktop report server optimized edition. You can use any regular Power BI desktop as well. Next thing would be to connect to the dataset. Make sure what type of file do you have. I will provide the link of this file in the description of this video. So here you can see it's an Excel file. Now let's connect this Excel file. And here is the Excel file. We will simply connect it. So in the file we can see the sheet and table. Whatever you prefer, you can connect any one of it. Because this table is basically this sheet itself, we have simply created the table here. That's why it is showing like that. So we will simply connect the table and load the data. Make sure while connecting the table that column names and their respective values are properly connected. And now here we have the different information. Next thing that we can do is we can simply add a text box here. And in the text box, we have to put the heading of what we are doing. So let's write the heading as financial expenses analysis dashboard, or whatever you prefer, you can write it here. And we will simply make it size 28, and or let's try to increase the size to 32. So this is financial analysis expense dashboard. And next thing that we are going to simply do is choose a particular background color for our canvas. For that we can go to view, and using view we can go to customize current theme. Here you will see different type of options like filter, pane, page, etc. We will select the page, then page background. In page background we can select a color that represents our analysis. Let's say if we want to select this color, so whatever color you want to choose, you can simply apply. You can see it will not be visible because transparency is 100%. So we will reduce the transparency and apply, and it will start showing like this. Now here is a simple thing. If you want to use this type of white background for your for your elements, you can use it. You can also try one more thing. You can disable the background and you can select the text that is light. So this is also you can do. And here you have effect. In effect we can enable some kind of shadow, so it will give you some kind of 3D looking. So this is something that you can do from your end. Now after creating the heading, we can include, let's say we are doing this financial expense analysis for a particular company, so we can add their logo or some icons, representing what we are doing. You can always go to insert and from here images, so from where you can add some assets here. First asset that we are trying to use is company logo, basically logo of our institute that we just add to give a reference and let people understand that the sidebar that we are going to use here will be used for putting different type of sliders here. So we will simply go to insert and shape. From here we can select a type of shape. For example, we can also select something like this, and we will simply drag it like this. So this is the shape where we are going to put our different type of sliders. In the shape we can again go to style and enable shadow. You can see some kind of shadow is enabled, and in style there is color, so we can select any particular color. Let's say we want to select this color, so there are ways to copy the color codes. For example, if we go to customize current page background, here is the code. So this is the hexadecimal code which we can copy, and we can just go to more color and apply this type of code here. So now you can see shadow. Now you can see the shadow color here. Maybe this is too much styling based tutorial, but if you would like to learn that, you can keep continue. Otherwise you can skip uh, two 2 3 minutes ahead, so it's your choice. So here for example in shadow you can see the color that is selected is this particular code. So here also when we'll select this, so when we are using shadow, the color that we can select is this particular code. So you can do something like that. Or here border is also enabled, we will disable the border. So now you can see we have something. So this is something that you can do. Obviously now we can expand its boundary. You remember that there is an image behind it which is now hidden. So to enable that image or to start showing that image, we have to go to format and we have to go to send to back. So that element will now go to back, and now we have this symbol, you know uh, area, symbol sidebar area, which we are going to use for putting our sliders. Now when you will see the table view, you will find that there are primary categories. So like where a transaction was made, it can be entertainment, food, bills, etc. You will see distinct names like bill, dining out, entertainment. So there are 7 of them, and category type is expense or income. So we will simply create some cards here. We will simply resize it something like this because we have to put 7 of them here. So in order to put 7 of them, let's resize it to this particular size. In here we are going to put amount as a field. So sum of amount is there. I will go to its setting, and here is a call out value. In call out value I will put size as 32, and again I will just disable the category label. This particular In this particular case we are just enabling title, and let's say bills. Okay, expenses on bills, and here we will make it bold, and there is a text color, so we will use text color with something like this. And similarly for visual also, call out value, we'll use something like this. Okay, we'll make it bold. So now in title we will align it to center, so it will appear something like this. So this is bills. Why we are doing this? And now this is not for bills particularly, this is total sum of amount. What we have to do, we have to drag category here. So first we will select bills here, and then so you can see minus 37k, and we will now drag category type here, and you can see category type is all expense. Okay, so here you can see bills minus 37k. Now it is negative because the value is given as a negative value here, and whenever the category type is expense, you can see the value can be fetched from debit. Okay, so what we can do, instead of sum of amount, we can also drag sum of debit here, and that will give us the final data. Now we can simply create another value here, and in sum of it, we can let it remain as sum of debit, and here we will say category is dining out. Okay, so when we will select dining out, you can say it is 33,000, and now we will simply go to its general and title, and we will write dining out, and this way we can repeat the steps for different categories. So I will just make 7 copies here, copy paste paste. So we have 6 and one more 7, and let's arrange them with equal spaces. So now we have these 7 values. So this is bills, dining out, and whatever we are going to select here, for example, let's say we are going to select entertainment, so we'll just do this. For entertainment also it is 37k, and we will simply change its title. So I will pause this and complete this row of expenses. Now after calculating or creating these KPIs, we will simply see the account wise amount spent. So for that we can use a simple donut chart here. So we will keep the width of this donut chart equal to 1.5 width, or twice the width of the KPIs that we have developed here. And the height we will try to keep at least 50%. Then in a donut chart you can use legend. So in this legend form, or in this legend field, we have to put some categorical value, that is type of account for us. When you will do that, you will see 3 different legend values here. These are representing 3 different categories. So now in the values we can add amount here, and this is basically sum of amount for different type of accounts. If we simply want to see for debit, so we can also put debit here, and this will be expenses by account type or debit by account type. So we can come here in format your visual settings, in title we can simply write debit by account type here, and here we will simply use the color that we have used for other headings and align it to center. If we want, we can increase its size also. Now this color also is something that we can adjust or we can customize. So we can go to format your visual. Here you will find slices. Let's say for credit we will use this color. We also have more colors. So let's say when we have selected this color, for this color we can copy the code, and let's say we, for saving, we want to find something similar. So we can select something that is little bit lighter or darker than that. So we'll choose something that is lighter, and then we have more colors and something that is lighter than previous value. So this way uh, these descending these values are in descending order, 77,000, 69,000, and 66,000, and we can show them as dark, lighter, and lightest value. So this is debit by account type. Now After finding out debit by account type, we can see uh, most debit is from credit account, then from saving account, and then from checking account. So you will be able to see from which account most expenses or most debit has been made. Now, when we will go to table view, we can see whenever there is a debit, so amount is minus 48,577. It is given as negative value, and it is expense. And basically, sum of debit, yes, it will be a positive value, but if you want to show for expense and income, if you want to show as a clustered bar, so first thing that we can simply try is we can go to modeling tab and we can go to new measure and we can create a measure called sum debit. We are just calling it sum debit. We are using the sum x function. Sum x function is used when we have to do, returns the sum of an expression evaluated for each row in table. So we have to consider each row from table 1, that is the name here, and we are choosing table 1 debit value, and we are finally multiplying it by minus 1. So this will be sum of debit, and sum of credit is already here, and we will use a clustered bar chart here. So what I will simply do, I will copy this chart and put it here, and I will use a clustered bar chart. In clustered bar chart, on y-axis, let's say we select category type. Here we will remove this and write sum debit. Okay, so this is showing expense, and here we will add credit. So here it will show income. So this will show us income versus expense, and we can go to data labels and switch it on. We can do different type of settings here. Next thing is, here for example, we already have values, so we can disable title and values for y-axis because we already have these values. And since income and expense is given here, if you want, you can disable the legend also. We are just doing it to make more space here, so whatever you prefer, you can do it here. And in your bar here, okay, so there are series. Let's say for sum of debit we want to choose a different color, or we want to show the value that is lower, and for sum of credit we want to show the primary color that we have been using so far. So this way you can use a chart like this. You can, this is a clustered bar chart, basically a horizontal bar. This is a clustered column, a vertical bar, so you can use any one of them. In here we can write total income versus expense or something like that. So we can write total income versus expenses, or whatever you want to write here. Next we have our primary categories. So we would also want to see total expenses by category. What we are doing here is we are creating financial expenses analysis. For income we can create another dashboard called you know income dashboard, which will be in the similar way. The measure that we are going to use, the metric that we are going to use will just be income in that case. So sum of credit can be there. Now in order to see category wise expenses, we can simply use a ribbon chart or something similar. To create the ribbon chart, again I am going to copy this so that we don't have to copy styling again. We'll change it to ribbon chart. Ribbon chart basically is just like a bar chart, but here you will see this you know ribbon like value here, like ribbon like visual here, which kind of will help you in understanding how the values are decreasing or increasing. And here instead of account we will use category here. So you will be able to see for different categories. Here you can see we have data labels. If you want to switch them on, you can always see the data label values. because the graph is narrower here, that's why we are not able to see that. Although we can try by going into values and lowering the value, but still not able to see that because of less width space here. Detail or background anything is not available here. Here we have one more thing. We have to change this color. So here we have columns. Let's select the primary color that we have been using. So this is simply debit by account type. You can easily choose a bar or a clustered chart here also, but we're just using a different type of chart here. If you want to see increase or decrease, so you can also select a waterfall chart, like you can see from bills to category entertainment, there has been an increase, then travel, then living expenses, then food, then this, and this is total value. So you can also use a waterfall chart here. In waterfall chart, if you will go here, so you will be able to see columns here, like for increase, let's say we want to show this color, there is no decrease, and for total we can select any color. So let's say for increase, yes, we will use the green color, and for total we will use this color. So this way we can use a waterfall chart also, and this is simply showing expenses by main category or primary category. Okay, now we have some secondary categories also, or subcategories also. So what we can do for subcategories, we can choose a clustered bar chart. First, in order to copy the styling, we will copy and paste it here, and we will simply use the chart here. With the help of these guidelines, we'll be able to label them. You can see the red lines here. And now here we are going to choose this particular chart, clustered bar chart. In here we are going to put category or subcategory here. So you can see we have these subcategories. If you want to increase its size, you can increase it like this also. So here we have subcategory wise, debit by account type or debit by subcategory or expenses by subcategory, whatever you prefer, you can write it here. So this is simply expenses by subcategory. And what we can do or learn one something else here is, here you can see in utilities the value is higher, right? So first of all, we can enable the data labels, and you will be able to see it. And in data labels, you will see option to position auto. I will write inside and so that everything is looking similar. Now we can try two things for colors, for example. So first, let's just collapse everything. In bars, you will see a color. Here you will see a function. So make this property change under different conditions. So we can go to this. We can select gradient. In gradient, you can see when sum of debit is lowest value, we'll select a light color. So we will go to more colors, and first actually we need to copy this color that we have been using so far. So we will just select this color and copy it, then come back to this chart. Here for lower values, we will select a lighter shade of this color. Okay, you can see. And for higher values, like for example in utility, value is higher, we can select this or maybe a little darker version of it. So this way you will be able to see debit by subcategory, and if the value is lowest, you will, for example in subcategory coffee, expenses are lowest, so you will be able to see coffee, it in a lighter shade of our target color, and highest values in a darker shade of the same color. So this way you will be able to check your expenses or debit by subcategory. What I have done, I have simply created some space here because we want to see monthly net income and expenses also. So if you want to see that, like here we tried the negative thing just to explain, but we are going to copy this thing here, okay, using the same thing. And here instead of sum of debit, we will use, yes, we will use sum of credit, but actually we will use sum of debit that is already given in the chart. So you can see income expenses, and here we have category type, and here we will write the title as monthly income versus expense or whatever suitable title you can write. Now the data that we have here, so the dates that we have here are all from same year. Whenever you will have a date related value, you will see date hierarchy here. So if the date is in proper format in the Excel file or from where you are downloading it, and here in date you can change the date format also as you would do in an Excel file. So whatever you want to display. So here we can, and suppose it is not showing like date, some students ask that. So you can go to your report view and click on transform data. It will bring Power Query Editor for you. And in Power Query Editor, you can select the column and change its type. So you can change type to date, time or date, whatever you prefer. Because here some time is also given. So that's why it is showing date time. Don't forget to close and apply if you have made some changes. So that is one important thing. I will simply increase its size, and in x-axis I will simply add month here. So now you will be able to see monthly income versus expense. This is sum of debit, which is expense. This is sum of credit, which is income. And what else we can do here is, like, we also have legend here. So let's say we want to display category type in legend here. So basically we have too many values here. If we suppose don't want to show credit for some reason, then we can, in legend, or here what we do, we drag amount, the total amount, right? So this way also you will be able to see this is monthly income versus expense. This is another way, and in legend you can bring category here. So, or in legend you can bring category type what I wanted to bring. So this is another way of showing that, which will represent the data in a more proper way. So this is expense and income, and now you will be able to see that. And here what we will simply do, will change the colors. So for series expense, like here you can see for income we selected dark blue, and for expenses we selected this light blue. So we'll do the same thing for income, we'll select this, and for expense we can select this. So this is just keeping the theme. So this is our monthly income versus expense data. This is total income versus expense. And in a similar way, you can do it like here. If you don't want to show total, or you have space here, you want to show total. So let's say, because we can easily show it like this also, and we can create a chart like this. So here we have monthly income versus expenses. Here we have total income versus expenses. Let's keep its height to half of this height. And here what we can do, here we can show company wise expenses or income, right? So let's say debit by company type. So we will simply copy this, and we are going to use a pie chart here, and instead of amount, we can choose company, and then we will simply go to slices and select the colors in the same order: dark, lighter, lighter than that. And since we have both value, we will select another color. So let's select color, go here, more colors, and select a lightest one. So this way, this is debit by company. Sorry for the noise from behind. So this is debit by account type, debit by company, and so on. And now whatever important parameters you have, you can put them as a filter here. To create a filter, you can add a slicer, and in your slicer, you can simply rearrange your slicer, and here we will simply click on it and add some field here. Let's say we want to add quarter as a slicer, like we want to see quarterly expenses. So we have, although we have not selected them here, but if we'll select quarter one, so you will be able to see all the expenses for quarter. And we can go to slicer settings, and here we can make a lot of changes, like we can select it as a tile, so you'll be able to see quarter 1 2 3 4. And in values you can go in the background section, and we can select a background here, and we have selected the background, so values are not visible. So we will go to values and select the front or the font color as this and make it bold. So this is quarter, and now we'll be able to see quarterly values. So let's select quarter 1, quarter 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, right? So this way one can select quarter and see quarter wise performance. You can also introduce month here, but that's your choice particularly. Now we will copy the slicer and paste it here, and this time we are going to bring company name as slicer. So we have company A B C D here. If you have to add more slicers because you want to give users more interactive features, so what you can do, you can go to slicer setting and show it as a drop down list. This is always helpful, and we can choose it like that. Okay, now because we have selected that shape, that's why while copying it, it sometimes shows like this. So now we have company, so one can select company 1 2 3 4, and let's here instead of company we can select category type. Let's copy it once again. Here we can select main primary category, like we want to show for primary category food, we want to show for income or living, so you will be able to see that. Okay, and whatever else you want here you can select. So if you want to make it bold, like you want to make the heading bold, so you can go to slicer header and make it bold and select a font that represent it. Now we will use format painter and copy it in all four slicers. I clicked outside, that's why it went weird. I don't know. Let me fix this. And as we selected slicer for the category, we can also select it for subcategory. So this is a simple financial expense analysis dashboard. Uh, Here you can see, let's switch it like this. Don't forget to save your work. So here you can see different quarters, quarter filter, company, category type, you know, category and subcategory based filters, and you can apply these filters to see expenses, in different expense by different features that we have. If you like this tutorial and learn something from it, please subscribe to our channel so that we can bring more videos like this to you. So let's see you in the next video.